So I think that's probably my strongest suit.
I love that. Can we give her a hand? The best thing she said is, I don't pretend to be a man. Right? Sometimes women, if you want to show you're a strong woman, you kind of forgo and are ashamed to show your femininity, which should not be. Risa.
Well, I think for me, I know it sounds cliche, but the biggest inspiration would be my mom. Because, she's someone who showed me from the very start that nothing is off limits for a woman. She wanted me to be a lawyer, a doctor, an entrepreneur, which were professions dominated by men that time. And she showed me that whether you're choosing toys, sports, careers, all opportunities are open for everyone. It's not, if a man has succeeded there, I guess that's why it can be and believe that they can be anything they want to be. And empowerment and really starts at home. You have to create that kind of culture so that we have more girls growing up stronger and more empowered in the future.
I like that. But when you were, I'd like to say, when you were starting, you're well awarded, you're quite famous, you even wrote a book. Were there biases against you in the beginning? I mean, most businesses in the Philippines, I'd have to say, are either funded by men. That's the sad part.
Yes, that's a reality, but I'd like to think that I think the biggest bias or the biggest struggle women face is really juggling career and home. A lot of women are always seen as, oh, you're too ambitious because you want to succeed outside the home. Women are supposed to be just for the home, but
failing is such a debatable thing. But then you just keep on. Just go on and go on and go on. Like Shabby.
Yes, so the question is, I'm most inspired. So I have a lot of women that I look up to, but quite recently I'm inspired by my 6-month-old daughter because I feel like I see the world differently when you use childlike perspective. So my strength would be ideation and connectedness, and I think a good idea always solves a problem. So you have to start there. And linking it to my daughter, right? Like I want a world where women are empowered to be problem solvers and decision makers, and to really encourage her to go with her strengths and not just for anything, but things that really matter to her. And so if I model that, then she inspires me to be a better version every day. Yeah.
Beautiful. Can we give a hand, please, to all our panelists? This is the first session. Now, I want to say that this month, SM has a series of short videos of strong women, such as the funny and witty author of 20 books so far, Miss Jessica Zafra. Jessica, are you here? Can you give us a wave? Ayun. The classic Jessica. Then we have young Sam Tamayo, who founded Project Smile Philippines. You will hear her in a few minutes. So watch for the videos of these 3 women called Wow is Me, where they talk about finding your voice, balancing work and life, and pursuing a noble advocacy. Roll the video, please.
Writing was a bad idea.
It wasn't an easy journey. Some may even think I'm too much.
There's no money in it.
Outspoken. Intense. I had to find my voice first.
When you found your voice, no one can make you shut up.
Self-expression is sometimes a scary concept. Those are the moments that you should own.
The way I am is the way I write.
You make mistakes, you have doubts, but don't let it get to you.
I don't much care about being seen as cool and just want to write something true.
I love what I do, and I know and love who I am.
All right, thank you so much for the insightful discussion with our panelists. We have a photo op first right now for this session, a photo op. Do I call Stephen up? Stephen also for the photo op. Okay, so do we have the photo op first? We can have the photo op first, then a media Q&A for you guys. Okay, that's... Do we stand up or sit down? Sit down. I'll smile. Can you move here?
May we also please request our guests to have their masks off for a short while for the photo walk.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen. And now we have a media Q&A. No more. Okay. Kayo talaga. Hindi maganda kayo, dear. Cute. So let's thank our panelists this morning, Cree, Risa, Gina, and Shami. Thank you so much. Let's give them a hand. Thank you. Okay. So we have a short break.
The winners of SM Little Stars. Mind you, she is not so little anymore. She is now 15 years old. After winning SM Little Stars, she became one of the finalists of The Voice Kids and took part in Annie the Broadway musical. SM doesn't just empower women, but also young girls to pursue their dreams. Join me as I welcome ladies and women, SM de Torres. You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast, to be the backlash of somebody's back above. Or you can start speaking love. Nothing's gonna hurt you, but it hurts you. And they said only if your skin kept on the inside. No sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. I wonder what would happen if you say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you with what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you, just wanna see you. I just wanna see you, just wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I wanna see you. Way out of the cage where you live. Maybe one of these days you can get the light in. Show me how big you brave and say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you with what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be great. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leave. It's time to try to defy gravity. I think I'll try to defy gravity, and you won't bring me down. of losing love. I guess I'm lost. Well, if that's love, it comes at a much too higher cost. Tonight, defying gravity, kissing goodbye, defying gravity, 'cause you won't pull me down. Limited, my future is unlimited. And I just had a vision, almost like prophecy. Yes, it sounds really crazy, and it's true, the vision's hazy. But I swear someday I'll be up in the sky, defying gravity. I'm flying high, defying gravity, 'cause you won't bring me down. So if you can't find me, don't you think I'll satisfied? As someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me. Tell them how I'm defying gravity. I'm flying high, defying gravity. And soon I'll match them and reach. And nobody, all of us, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me Happy International Women's Day to everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
A big hand for Esan de Torres, so young and so talented. Now, to hear from UN Women's Global Call to Action, we have a special video from UN Women We Empower Asia. Please watch this.
On behalf of UN Women, I wish you a happy International Women's Day. Advancing gender equality in the context of the climate crisis and disaster risk reduction is one of the greatest global challenges of the 21st century. It is everyone's responsibility. We know all too well that its adverse impacts are not distributed equally.
In the aftermath of natural disasters, women-led households face greater difficulties rebuilding their homes and accessing assistance, especially in kind. It is thus paramount that our actions to disaster response and climate change be gender sensitive.
We know that climate change is not gender matter. Women, girls, and the most left behind, including indigenous peoples or persons with disabilities, are affected and respond differently as they already experience discrimination, not equal access to resources, gender-based violence, lack of power to decide of their future that are further exacerbated whenever there are disasters brought about by climate change.
Sadly, however, gender-specific climate change adaptation and mitigation requirements, particularly those that cater to women, are seldom, if ever, integrated in the design of climate change management interventions.
Over the years, UNICEF has been working with the governments, businesses, leaders around the world to address climate change. In the Philippines, UNICEF advocates increasing financing and research in the country to understand how it can lessen the risks of climate change for children. Establishing resilient public services for children such as welfare plans and education in times of climate emergency. And most importantly, empowering children to be agents of change by promoting platforms to lead and take action.
We support the Philippines to advance recent work and manufacturing in the human-centered recovery and just transition. We work with the government, workers, employers, and development partners. Recently, we helped about 4.4 million workers affected by the typhoon.
Contributions of women, city planners, development workers, community leaders, environmental officers, entrepreneurs, heads of families in the planning and implementation of projects on areas such as climate resilience and green recovery, marine plastic litter reduction, and post-disaster and post-conflict shelter construction.
Today, I want to stand in solidarity with you and agencies for the year the government of the Philippines and our civil society, which will migration, remains, and the benefit of all, especially. On International Women's Day, we celebrate and recognize
Our only home. Invaluable, but not invulnerable. Are we too late to save it? Climate change is making our world more dangerous, more fragile, more unequal. In these uncertain times, women and girls face a disproportionate threat of displacement, poverty, and violence. But women and girls are also a powerful force in climate action. As innovators in green energy, as defenders of the environment, and as educators of our generation and the next.
VAWG. Come over, Marian Dorothy Del Rosario. You can sit here, Marian. Okay, can you explain what VAWG is?
Hello, can I be heard? Okay. Good morning po, Ms. Karen, and happy International Women's Day to all the women and of course to our allies in our fight for gender equality. So VOG or VOG actually is the acronym for...
VOG pala.
Yes po, that's how we pronounce it, but sometimes in other countries they pronounce it as VOG, yeah. So VOG is the acronym for Violence Against Women and Girls. And it's a very sensitive issue po actually, and it includes physical, psychological, sexual, and even financial violence. And we recognize that VOG has serious and life-altering impacts on the well-being of women and girls, and that it happens everywhere. Ang karahasan po nangyayari po ito pwede sa kalsada, sa pampublikong lugar, in digital spaces, and even at home. In fact, the recent data by the UN Women stated that since the outbreak of COVID-19, the cases of VOG, particularly domestic violence, has intensified. And until now, mas lalo pong tumataas ang kaso ng VOG. That's why we want to call for an end of it once and for all.
Very good. All right, and we'll continue our discussion next. The National President of the Girl Scouts of the Philippines, Dr. Nina Lim Yuson. Ano na to? A pillar in the industry, an icon, legendary. Isang alamat, so to speak. Okay, Dr. Nina, please give us an update on Girl Scouts of the Philippines. And you know, many people may still ask, relevant pa ba ang Girl Scouts?
Thank you, Karen. Good morning, everyone. All the ladies, the women, the young girls who are here. Happy Women's Day. You know, when we entered SM here, the security guards were saying, ay, Girl Scouts ako noon. So we see many of them when we go on trips around the country. They are Girl Scouts. But during the COVID, it was really difficult for our girls. We couldn't go out for camping. But our young girls, like Marian here, started doing their webinars online. So we learned something new during this time. They even had podcasts. They interviewed people. They even had camping online, which is really exciting because it's the young people who are taking over now. I am a volunteer. She's still a Girl Scout because we start from 5 years old. And that's why it really is alive, except that we need to get out of this pandemic, and so that many girls are just daring to go out and do their Girl Scouting.
I'm curious, how many Girl Scouts are in the Philippines?
Oh, our membership was like 1.5 and it reached up to 3 million. But because of COVID, it has really decreased a lot. Because there's no school and they are school-based.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll continue our discussion. I'd like to call, this is the founder of a youth NGO, Project Smile, Sam Tamayo. Okay, Sam, Project Smile, it's quite a familiar organization already. But can you share with them? I believe I worked with Project Smile at one point.
I wish Miss Karen
Okay, so tell me. Yes.
So good morning again, everyone. So I'm Sam. I'm the founder of Project Smile. So Project Smile is a multi-awarded youth-led nonprofit organization, and our main advocacy is to uplift the lives of underprivileged and neglected Filipinos, one act of kindness at a time. And I think this is our core, really, because we believe that small acts of kindness can really truly make an impact in the lives of other people. And in 2020, it was actually quite difficult for us, Ms. Karen, because we had to pivot really our operations because we are used to meeting the communities across Metro Manila and other neighboring cities. But because of 2020, we were able to scale our operations nationwide po. So if there was a silver lining for us, we were able to reach different regions.
Goodwill Ambassador, but she's here with Spark Philippines. Please welcome Antoinette Tos. Okay, Antoinette, what is Spark Philippines?
Good morning,
And what's
everyone.
your role in Spark?
Happy International Women's Day to all the women and girls, and of course to everyone that loves the women and girls in your life, and I think that's everybody. Spark Philippines is actually a women empowerment organization that since the beginning of my journey in nonprofit work has really brought a lot of change, a lot of inspiration, and their focus really is working with marginalized and vulnerable communities, as we mentioned. And working with the United Nations Environment Program, we really see that issues of the environment and the climate are not just limited to the environment or the planet itself. These are what we call intersectional issues. Now, the challenges we face across the world, we all face them together. But for women and girls, the impact is always worse and more severe and more grave. And this needs a crucial and urgent attention. So we say, as we work together to create a better world, it cannot be done without women at the forefront, being involved, participating, not just having voices, but participating and making their mark.
But what does Spark do?
Spark works with various organizations and communities to help bring awareness towards women's issues, including gender-based violence, unpaid care work, and of course also helps bring economic opportunities to those that actually need help the most.
Okay, so there's a bit of a similarity among all the groups that are here today. Now, empower women is such a commonly used word, right? Everybody says empowered woman, empower a woman, empower this, empower that. But how do your organizations empower a woman? Keep it not motherhood, but specifically. So Dorothy, how do you empower girls?
For me po, based on my experience, I've been with the Girl Scouts of the Philippines for 9 years now, and I can conclude that the best way to truly empower young women like me is to give girls and young women the opportunity to speak up, like this, just like
speak up.
Yeah, to speak up, just like in conversations like this, and to give them the spaces to be in the decision-making spaces, in the leadership spaces. And also, it is important to equip them with knowledge and skills so that they can be confidently sharing their thoughts, expressing what they really care about, and really share their insights. And kami po sa Girl Scouting, we believe that girls are the experts of their own lives. These girls and young women, they already have the power within them. Ang kailangan lang po natin gawin is to provide them the tools, the opportunities, the spaces, and the confidence, as I said, to speak up in various events and to take action as well in their community. And also, I think it is very important that in doing so, huwag po natin kalimutan yung mga batang kababaihan na nasa malalayong lugar, in the far-flung areas, because most of the time nakakalimutan po sila lagi, and we need to include them as well. And I think when we do this, when we invest in girls, and we give them the opportunity, malaki po yung balik sa atin. Kami po actually in the Girl Scouts of the Philippines, we have this Chief Girl Scout Medal Scheme. It is the highest and most prestigious award that we give to a Girl Scout who have done or who have contributed in their community through a one-year community project. And since 1976, we now have an approximate number of 12,000 Chief Girl Scout medalists from across the country. And I think it goes to show po talaga that when you invest in girls, we empower them to make this world a better place.
Okay, because yung Girl Scouts of the Philippines, it's not necessarily funding communities, right? That's not how you empower girls. So Dr. Nina, perhaps you can share. She said speak up is one thing. Ano ba ang challenges ng mga kababaihan? Like when they come to you, or they start at 5 and you have some at 10 years old. But how do you empower them? What do you say? What do you do? How do you change mindsets, old behaviors? Alam mo, girls at home are taught na sumunod ka lang, umuo ka lang, huwag ka makisali dyan, sundan mo kuya mo. That's the story. Ikaw maghugas ng pinggan, tapos yan yung lalaking anak, walang ginagawa.
Well, you know, Girl Scouts already 81 years old, founded by women who were already empowered themselves during the time when we couldn't vote. So the founder, Josefa Llanes Escoda and Pilar Hidalgo Lim, were the women and other women who made sure that women would vote in 1935. And we're very proud of that because now we're going to have elections. So we are also telling the girls, they must be aware. So we have different webinars, seminars for the girls. For example, electoral, we have with ABS-CBN on Baimo Katolmo. And then we are part of an international World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, 10 million girls around the world. So they are exposed globally. And like Dorothy was supposed to go to Florida, but then COVID happened. But then we send these girls to camps abroad, and they are speaking out. So when they come back, they're more empowered. But even young girls, they feel secure. That's why we don't have Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We are Girl Scouts, single sex, you know, and we feel very proud about that because we grow up in a very secure environment, but then they go out. Eventually, we also have joint events, but it's important that they know what they're speaking about because you cannot just speak out without.
So exposure is one thing, but how do you handle empowering teenagers who have been victims of violence? So before Project Smile and Spark, for both of you, how do you empower girls who are either hurt all the time at home or who are bullied in school? What do you teach them?
Kami po in the Girl Scouts of the Philippines, we have this global campaign called the Stop the Violence global campaign under the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. And in this campaign, we teach our Girl Scouts about violence against women and girls, how to report, how to protect themselves. So I think teaching them how to report and how to speak up, and that also breaking this culture of silence. Kasi po, when someone experiences violence here in the Philippines, we are always victim blaming. So nahihirapan yung mga babae na mag-report.
Totoo yan.
Yes, it's very true. It is the reality. And yun po yung tinuturo namin, ini-invite namin sa mga girls namin that it's very important to speak up. It's very important to resolve.
Ako pa sinisi.
Yes.
Kasalanan ko pa.
It is the reality in our country. And yun po yung gusto namin i-change with our campaign. So that is one thing that we do. We educate them and we really invite them that it is not our fault as girls to be victimized. Ako nga po.
Or if someone was, let's say, well, this is quite severe, but abused by a man, they'll say, anong suot niyan?
Yes, actually, that's very true.
Diba?
You'll be wearing your Girl Scouting uniform, your school uniform, nakatol ka, ikaw ba yung may kasalanan ng yung suot. So ayun po, it is very important to challenge this these norms in our society. So that is one thing that we do. And also, meron po tayong bagong batas, the Safe Spaces Act, also called as the Bawal Bastos Law, and we also share that to our Girl Scouts. It is a very comprehensive act po. But unfortunately, hindi pa masyadong strict yung implementation niya. So we are encouraging girls to follow the strict implementation of this law, and that is also one part of what we are doing in our campaign.
All right, Dr. Nina, I guess quickly, do you want
Yes.
to, with your experience,
Yes, yes.
meeting so many girls?
Yes, yes, yes. So I've been around the country and I've seen the girls, they're in public schools, you know, they go to school with chinelas, but then when they go camping, and the girls have asked for it, they want to learn taekwondo, rappelling, all these sports that boys do, they want to do it too. So I think it encourages them, no? They are able to speak out, they're stronger, and that's why we want all girls to join Girl Scouts, because it's worth your time. You understand what are the problems of Filipino women, communities, and it's better for them, I think, for their future.
Okay, now in terms of Project Smile, be specific. How do you empower women?
I think empowerment should start by treating every single person and making that person seen, heard, and valued. And when it comes to making people see that, content that you created, you're able to really communicate our advocacy. Next is making them feel heard. So as young as 14, 15 po, may members kaming ganon, and they're not used to being leaders. But because of our organization, na-train na po sila, naging confident sila, and naging active leaders in their communities.
Okay, so you shared two things. One is in your workspace, you was a leader, but essentially, the priority of Project Smile in empowering women is you teach them skills, right? You upskill women. And what have you seen when women learn new skills? How do they change? Do they leave abusive partners? How do they change?
I guess I can share with you yung Accessible Assistance Alliance, where we basically connect therapists to kids with special needs and their families. Basically, we're targeting po yung mga financially challenged po talaga. Those that cannot afford therapy, because as we know, it's quite expensive. And a lot of the partners that we work with are actually mothers of these beneficiaries, because in order for it to be successful, we need to get their buy-in. And at the beginning of our program, they would say na hindi sila sure how it will work out because number one, hindi sila marunong gumamit ng gadgets. Second, ano pang maitutulong ko, hindi naman ako trained, di ba? So, tinutulungan po talaga sila ang therapist, tinuturuan sila. And from being helpless and hopeless, now they're actually very vocal advocates of not just their children, but the community at large.
Very good. Now, what about Spark Philippines? Is it similar to Project Smile? Or do you target or empower women in a different manner?
Actually, I support Spark Philippines, and my contribution throughout these years has really been to help with a lot of the information dissemination and educational campaigns as well. But Spark actually works on the ground. Their founder is here today, Ms. Maika Perez.
The founder of Spark is here. Let's give her a hand.
And she's a dear friend. And the thing is, honestly, her mission, I feel, is the mission of every woman. And it really also strikes me so deeply because the work that we do on the ground at Quora preliminarily is impacted by these initiatives that they are speaking about. So for example, through the help of USAID, we have the Clean Cities Blue Ocean program that actually empowers women in waste management. And the interesting and amazing part about this is the many years that we've been doing coastal cleanups with Quora, we've encountered so many women, volunteers, or actually from the government, from different divisions, and they're the ones that are every day out there. They're the frontliners of nature, risking their lives for us. And then beyond that, we have our, we call them the Woman Grove Warriors of Leyte, because they're the women that plant and nurture these mangrove seedlings. That is actually something so vital for the Philippines, because we are at most risk across the world for the risks of climate impacts. But it seems usually when we think of the narrative of helping women, it's always kind of like help. And when you say help or giving aid, it's almost thinking that they are weaker or less and that they need help. But in reality, what we want is support. We want investments. We want priorities towards women. Because as we speak of solutions, it is a world of collective issues. And we cannot solve these issues if half of the world is held back. So rather than looking at women as a sector of society that needs to be included because they need help, we need to look at them as a sector of society that is a key driver of change, and that is needed in order to actually change the world and really make a difference.
My gosh, can you give Antoinette a hand? Pwede ikaw yung women's speaker for the day. Gusto ko sabihin yon. Ngayon na, you said something a while ago. I call it, you said, the environment, women are most affected. How so? Why did you isolate women per se?
It honestly really goes beyond the environment. I feel like every issue we face in the world, it's always more difficult for women and girls. And in the Philippines, we have more marginalized and vulnerable communities as well. Case in point would even just be water scarcity. For communities that may not have a water source, women and girls are usually the primary members of the family that are sent to fetch water for the entire family. They end up missing school, they end up missing livelihood opportunities, and so much more. And not just that, their journey to fetch this water sometimes is half a day's walk. So imagine what women and girls go through across the world, and this happens in our own country as well.
And are you raising funds for that? For water supply?
We actually are. That's
a very good advocacy to raise.
It's actually something that is being prioritized by many different organizations, and it's one of our main initiatives, most especially when we do emergency response after climate impacts. Yes, we work with an amazing organization called Waves for Water Philippines, who helps provide an instant solution anywhere, anytime. So really having partnerships with different organizations working together creates so much power.
Existing now, and then they can go back to school. So we hope that our membership will grow, because really during this
and
2
it's showing
years,
you're relevant.
Yes, and encouraging other girls to go. So we are very grateful and thankful to SM Netherlands.
Would you have the numbers? What is the target of SM and Girl Scouts for daily vaccination?
Yes, so now we have to release a circular. You know, we are all over the country, and SM also has many malls all over the country. So we have to know which council would respond to that. We have 96 councils all over. And you know, the 5 to 11 are the youngest, but then we will also be vaccinating 12 to 18-year-olds.
I would absolutely be vaccinated in front of Shake Shack. Why not, right? No, and we have to remind everybody it's free. It's free.
Yes, it's free, of course.
It's free.
Yes. Because SM has partners with local governments, I think. So we are very lucky, and we really are grateful and thankful.
Okay, all right. So everybody watching right now on the ANC and SM Supermalls Facebook page, you can get vaccinated, your 5 to 11-year-olds in SM. How many SM branches? Mega Mall first? 60 SM branches. So those watching right now, libre po ang bakuna.
Yes, the rollout is April 2.
Go ahead.
The rollout April 2 Saturday.
Yeah. Depende na lang kay Steven if he's gonna say, pag ginakunahan ka, you have a free burger. I'm kidding! Ang daming tao ng sa SM. Oh my God. But the point is, libre ang bakuna. It's in 60 SM branches. And you have the Girl Scouts of the Philippines assisting the vaccination.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so to close, I want to ask you, I'll start with, let me start first with Project Smile. To close, I think, what is your message for the Gen Z and Alpha girls? What is an Alpha girl? I mean, I have no idea. I'm not even a millennial. What's an Alpha girl? It's like a generation.
I think an Alpha girl.
It's an Alpha girl, like a leader.
Yes, correct. So I think an
And
Alpha
that's
girl.
all of us.
Correct. So an Alpha girl is somebody who's very outspoken, is not afraid to stand up for her right, but also the people around her. And my main message is that to all young women out there is that you shouldn't be afraid to start small, because when I started Project Smile, it was literally just me giving out meals to people I would encounter in the streets. I never envisioned that it would be this big of an organization, and along the way, I'm already capacitating young change makers. So for that reason, I think you should be afraid to start small and to make a difference in your own way.
I'm curious, how much can people donate to Project Smile?
So we have a lot of partners. So we have corporations as well who have partnered with us. They can donate via donation.ph/Project Smile. So that's in partnership with Paymongo. And we also have a partnership with Shopee, so they can add our vouchers to your cards.
Wow. How much money have you raised so far? I mean, from the time you started?
Oh, I haven't really tallied po, pero for, at least for last year, we've fundraised over 1 million already. For
Very
our
good.
campus.
Very good, very good. Okay, so that's number one. That's right. Any other thing you'd like to add?
I think that's my main message po talaga. Don't be afraid to take the risk and really collaborate and build your tribe with other people.
All right, Antoinette, your message to the Gen Z alpha girls like you in terms of we are celebrating Women's Month.
I have to be honest, I'm not quite sure what they mean by alpha girl to me.
You're alpha.
But
Trust me when I tell you.
I'm guessing it's the alpha that we think it is, but I feel really that being an alpha human being, an alpha woman, just a being on this earth is really about not thinking that you're above, but believing that you're a part of the collective, that we need each other. I can't do it without you, and you can't do it without me. And not just that, but believing that there are no limitations for you. I'm very grateful because I grew up in a household with a superwoman, my mom, Cora. And I feel like growing up, I didn't even realize the issues that women faced across the world because she represented so much of what I just really wanted to be, strength, courage, but so much love and compassion. And I feel that as a woman, that's another challenge. Keeping that love, that tenderness in our hearts in such a challenging world. But I feel like for women, that's also an incredible strength. Our hearts, our emotions, our love carries us forward. Love for people, love for the planet. So never ever underestimate the power that you have. You just have to believe it, work on it, be consistent, and keep going with a purpose.
Beautiful. And on a lighter note, are you still in show business?
Oh my goodness, actually,
are you full-time? What's the status?
A lot of people have been asking me this actually. I never really purposefully thought of what I was doing with it, but I've been so really busy and dedicated to the work that we're doing for nonprofit that I thought at one point that I would just quit altogether, but it's kind of meshed and come together, and I've been doing a lot more initiatives for hosting as well. I've had the opportunity to work with some global media groups as well. But speaking about people in the planet, and not just that, writing songs about issues that we face today as well.
Can you sing? I mean, I'm
Oh
just
my
curious.
goodness.
When you have like something for empowered women, maybe 3 or 4 lines.
Oh my goodness, I might give you a little bit more than 3 or 4 lines. I will not sing though. I will do a little something that, since I was a little girl, I've loved rappers, I don't know why. And I ended up creating a rap because I wanted to remember the Sustainable Development Goals.
Go.
So,
UN? Wait, you're gonna rap the UN Sustainable Goals? Oh my God! Lynn. Okay, can you stand up?
I'm gonna stand?
You are gonna rap
Para
the
ako
UN
yan.
Sustainable Goals.
I can't
That's
even-
a lot. Go ahead.
I will
here.
try to make it as quick as I
Go.
can. But to those of you that want to remember the SDGs, I hope this helps you guys as well. All right, 1, 2, 3. Eradicate poverty across the world. Zero hunger for every boy and girl. Good health, well-being, coast to coast. Quality education we need the most. Gender equality for all to see. Clean water, sanitation, clean energy. Decent work, economic growth. Industry, infrastructure, innovation. Reduced inequalities for every nation. Sustainable cities and communities. Responsible production and consumption, please. Climate action, that's the plan. Protect life below water and life on land. Peace, justice, strong institutions. Partners for the goal are the solution. Spread the good word across the land. Tell the whole world about the plan. Get ready 2030, that's the year. Human beings won't live in fear. Calling all earthlings everywhere. It's time to take action if you care. Hand in hand, together we can. 17 goals, 1 master plan.
Oh my God, Antoinette! The UN should like give you a talent fee for that. That is like freaking serious. Ang haba kaya ng development goals ng United Nations. My God! Iba ka. Dapat kang tularan, isa kang alaman. I don't know how you can top that, but I'll let her close. So si Dr. Remina muna, at least we'll have a young one close. So Dr. Remina, what is your message to all women out there? Mental health has been an issue. Clearly, I mean, in the pandemic, more women have been victims of domestic violence. Please, go ahead.
Yes, but you know, I was listening to Mr. Stephen Tan, and he said something like, you can't just do this most, you have to help others. And that's really in the Girl Scout promise, to love God and my country, to help other people at all times. So you cannot help people unless you help yourself first. And so that is why we start from 5 years old. It's in their DNA. This lady here is a very good example because they have to just live it even if nobody's looking at them. They do know the sustainable development goals. That's one of the things that they learn. But they are their own empowered woman.
Bravo! Can we please give it a hand like Shira? Ang hirap kasi. Ang hirap paggalingan yung rap. Diba? Dorothy, well, you're amazing, 19 years old. I mean, Vauji, that's no joke, right? Kumbaga, you're already living like 20 years all ahead of many people in the audience with everything you're doing. So please, to close, our women now and the future.
Well, thank you for that po. Sa akin, my first message to every girl is to believe. First, to believe that you are an alpha girl. Second is to do not be afraid and have the courage to take up space. And third, to involve yourself in causes or in issues that are important to you. If Vauji resonates with you just like how it resonated with me, then study it and speak up about it. If nutrition is important to you, then speak up about it. If body confidence, something is important to you, if mental health is important to you, then speak up about it. You just have to find your purpose really, and you just need to know kung ano ba yung gusto mong ipaglaban, and then speak up about it, take up space and have courage.
Bravo! Bravo to these young women, right? Stephen, please join us for our photo op before we call our closing speaker. Who will rap? Oh, Stephen, you have to stay in the center with Dr. Nina. No, Dr. Nina, dito ka. Stephen is there. Then we have a quick picture. 1, 2, 3. The rap will stay in our minds forever. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, bravo. And to close, please, I'd like to call the country program manager of UN Women We Empower Asia, Miss Lenlen Messina.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Hindi ko kaya at walang makakatapat sa ginawa ni Antoinette. Maraming salamat. We were told we were recipients of a lot of information today. And many of the things that we've heard, what girls could contribute. But I hope we don't also forget that there are also things that we could do to enable women and girls to be who they want to be and to become who they want to become. When we were planning this event, we had to look back to last year's conversation with Steven about SM Supermalls and the rest of the SM group of companies committing to the women's empowerment principles. UN Women We Empower Asia's main work and thrust is to really rally and get the support of private sectors, companies, and businesses to promote and facilitate women's empowerment, for that matter, leadership, job security, or labor force participation, because we know we're missing a lot because girls and women are still not able to access a lot of the opportunities available out there. And I am just so happy to see that this morning really is a true testament to how when we all get together, we can make things happen. And we cannot aim to be as big as SM because what we want is for every one of us to create small actions so we can make a change, we can make a positive impact to women and girls where you live, in the community you belong, and add that together, it would really make a ripple of impact that would pave the way to a sustainable future that we all get to enjoy. This International Women's Day is focused on the theme of sustainability, and it really tackles the impact of climate change and disasters to women and girls. That really, parang gusto kong sumagot doon sa question ni Karen kanina, why do we always need to look at women and why are they affected differently by climate change? Sila po yung unang nawawalan ng bahay, sila yung nawawalan ng trabaho, pero kailangan pa rin nilang magpatuloy suportahan ang kanilang pamilya. Nung magkaroon ng pandemya, they still need to work even if they have to stay home, deliver their targets for their offices or companies, but at the same time, look after their children, look after the elderly, and of course, help the children with their modules. Kaya nga tuwing nag-meeting kami before, parang sino dito ang bago umaten ng meeting had to prepare breakfast and had to fold clothes before matulog. That's us women. But we don't want to always tell the story that women are victims because we want to make sure and we want to make the world know and everyone know that women can contribute, that women can provide solutions, that women could be partners in addressing the social ills of our society. And I am so happy and pleased to have and to hear Stephen's commitment that the International Women's Day will not just be celebrated in SM Super Malls during the Women's Month, but every day. And we would be expecting that, Stephen. Thank you so much. But outside hearing from Stephen, I am really very pleased to hear about the work that Risa, that Jamie, that Gina, that we has been doing, enabling and supporting women and girls in their own way. So employing them, setting up a social enterprise that could really elevate the situation and address the vulnerabilities of women and girls, giving them opportunity to work online, giving them a channel, a distribution channel for their products. And on our second panel is really hearing about what you can do when you are part of a non-profit organization. And of course, the Girl Scout of the Philippines. Sino po ang hindi naging Girl Scout dito? Ang tanong ko hindi di ba? Thank you, Bobby. Pero lahat nagdaan sa pagiging Girl Scout. And that's where we train. That's where we hone our values and our core. Pero we are missing a lot of these things when we don't do actions. We cannot be living on lip service. And I hope as we leave this hall today, we all take away and we all think of small actions we can do to promote gender equality and women's empowerment and not just push them aside. Let's all create platforms like this. It does not have to be grand. It can be talking to your peer. It can be making sure a friend is safe and comfortable while talking to the boss who is so, taking advances or delivering green jokes for that matter. I hope we try to find ways to make a difference in the lives of women and girls, not just today, but always. Not just in big grand actions waiting for us to be big people, achievers, but in our own day-to-day lives. I would like to close it at that and greet you all on Happy International Women's Day. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Karen. Kapag ikaw ang nasa stage, kailangan nagre-reflect talaga ng answers, di ba? Pero thank you so much. Karen has been really a champion for UN Women together with Risa, and I'm so happy that they are here. Congratulations everyone at magandang araw po sa ating lahat.
That was so enlightening.